You read that right, ladies and gentlemen. Old Branzy is now a dadsy. And the only thing crazier than that, is the story of how it happened. I mean, her birth story, you sickos. And I want to tell you all about it, including what that means for the future of this channel. Besides, Minecraft is about to drop their new baby ghast mob thing, and I kind of want to see if I can find one. So let's play a game. I'm going to give you 3 phrases, and you leave a comment to guess how they actually play into this story. Enchiladas, wheelchair, and elevator lobby. Okay, ready? Here we go. So it all started way back towards the end of April. My wife was 41 weeks pregnant, and I had been quarantining in my office with some kind of sinus infection for the last 2 weeks. When suddenly she walked in my office and said, "I think I'm having early labor contractions." And call it parental instinct or the months of preparation kicking in, but we knew exactly what we had to do next. Get Mexican food. Partially because no one wants to give birth on an empty stomach, but mainly because pregnancy cravings are terrifying. And just as those enchiladas hit the table, the real labor began. I feel like this is a very strange video to have killed both of your parents. But look, you live with your aunt. Actually, you can't. I'm going to kill her too. Now, what's kind of misleading about labor from the outside looking in is the scale at which it can progress. Like, we left the restaurant at about 9 p.m. and my wife was having some more timely, smaller contractions. Oh my God, it's a forest fire. We should really do something about that. So we went home and pretended that our nerves weren't eating us both alive by watching some TV. And at about 10:30, I texted our midwife and said things were happening, who told me we were still a ways away and not to worry until the contractions were like 5 minutes apart. So I got out my phone and started timing. And by the time the next hour was up, we went from 6 minutes apart to 3 minutes apart. So the baby was coming, and she was coming fast. So I grabbed our little birth bag, which is a term that still makes me slightly uncomfortable, and still remaining very disingenuously calm, I floored it to the hospital like my name was Dom Toretto. Nah, I'm kidding. I've never watched those movies. I maybe ran one yellow light going the speed limit, so... But we got to the birth center right at 1 in the morning, which, if you don't know, is kind of like a hospital mixed with a hotel. You've got a private room, a big comfy bed, and a couple of trained midwives at the ready. What you don't have are doctors, an epidural or pain medication, and most emergency medicinal intervention equipment. Oh my goodness, that is a very, very large crevasse. And besides that, it feels kind of freaky to pull up to a big brown office building at 1 in the morning and say, "Good evening, care to deliver my baby?" I didn't like that seat anyways. We're just gonna start a new one. Now we're talking. This is way worse. What? But our midwife texted me the code to the side door. We took a right down the freshly polished lobby floor and up the elevator to the birthing office. And as soon as our midwife saw my wife, she could already tell she was way further along than expected, and that baby was going to be here any minute. Or at least, that's what we thought. Because for the next 5 hours, my poor wife had to endure full-on pushing labor. Now, I won't get into the nitty-gritty of what that entails, but go hug your mom. And as we reached about 5 in the morning, after my wife had been hooked up to an IV and oxygen just to keep her conscious, she finally said safe word, which was our clever safe word to say she had finally reached her limit and that it was time to go to the hospital to get an epidural. Because despite all the blood, sweat, and tears she had put in so far, the baby was stuck and she wasn't able to come out by herself. And this is where the real life panic started to set in. Because not only were we in the middle of a medical emergency, but the midwives informed me that I would have to be the one to drive my wife to the hospital. My wife, who couldn't even sit down in a car at this point, in a hospital that was literally on the other end of town. It's a nice cave. Holy. So, with bags and my wife's IV in my hand, the midwife steering the wheelchair, and my wife clinging backwards on it for dear life, we dashed back down the elevator, through the lobby, out the door, all the way back to the car. Oh my God. The Mushroom Island right there. Oh, melons. Hold on. Where I started feverishly just throwing our stuff into the trunk while my midwife helped my wife get into the car. When suddenly I heard someone shout, "The baby is coming right now." So I lunged back to my wife, who's still kneeling on that wheelchair, now screaming in mentally distant anguish. And the midwife looks at me and says, "We don't have time. We have to get her back into the lobby right now." So I grabbed the IV bag again and we tore off across the lawn back to the lobby door, my poor wife clinging to the handlebars and bouncing around like a little bobblehead. And then for a brief moment, everything went in sort of like a slow motion. Wait. Oh my God. This thing is like ready. Of course there's no lava. Of course there's not. Oh, but there's some. Never mind. Because as we got closer and closer to the door, I realized that it was now locked again, and there was no one on the other side to let us in. Our midwife also realized this in the same moment as she was steering our now off-road buggy chair and called out, "The door code is 4563." Or whatever it was. I don't even remember at this point. But I couldn't help but think about every scary movie I'd ever seen where the protagonist is trying to get away from the monster, and just as they're about to get in the getaway car, they fumble the bag and drop the keys. And although I didn't have a murderous monster chasing me, I did have one hand clinging to an IV bag, a wife screaming in pain, and a midwife treating the situation like a Max Payne movie. So I stretched out as far as I could, reaching for the keypad, and with what felt like the weight of the future well-being of my wife and child bearing down on my shoulders, I clutched up so hard entering that door code, the midwife didn't even have time to slow down, which I'm not sure she would have anyways. And as we tore back down into the lobby and reached the elevator for the third time, my wife let out a huge groan, and the midwife yelled, "The head is out!" And then another groan, and the midwife shouted, "Oh, here come the shoulders!" And within 2 seconds of one final push, weighing in at just under 9.5 pounds and the healthiest lungs I had ever heard, our baby girl was here, born right in the middle of the lobby in front of the elevator. It was quite a sight, and she's huge, like 94th percentile in weight and 95th in height. She is so long, dude. It's like so freaking long. It's crazy. So I'd say we definitely got our money's worth. Well, kind of. I mean, you spend all this money to have a private room, and you end up just needing the lobby. Dude, it's a whole thing. Anyways, honestly, I can't really describe the feelings or emotions that even I went through, let alone my wife, who I am convinced is some kind of superhero now. But I can tell you that as cheesy as it sounds, it was the happiest moment in my life. And I am so elated to be a dad. At least, that's what I thought. I'm just kidding. I'm still stoked to be a dad. But I knew it wasn't going to be easy, and it's actually a whole lot harder than that. But at the same time, it's so much freaking fun. So, it's been about a week. We've survived. We've done, I can't even tell you how many diaper changes, how many feeds. I'll be honest, dad life is a lot, but she's totally worth it. We're almost through the trenches. She just pooped, so I need to go address that. Because I had prepped for this baby. I was in full attendance of YouTube University learning about baby care, talking to all my dad friends for advice, reading baby books. I even took a trip down memory lane playing Cobblemon to sort of relive one of my favorite childhood passions of Pokemon. So hence the semi-random Cobblemon videos I had pre-recorded over the last 3 months so I could take some paternity leave. So to all of you that have taken the time to watch them, thank you so much. You've made taking some time off so much less stressful for me. Because even something as like life-altering as having a child as a YouTuber, I mean, it's kind of weird because I don't get to just take time off work necessarily in order to spend some time with her, right? Because if I'm not recording videos or editing or releasing, then things usually just aren't happening very much. I mean, like, I have people helping me, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, like at some point, the wheels just kind of stop turning if I'm not pushing it. Anyways, I was doing all the things I could to prep myself for the impossible task of being a parent and what that entails. Like, I think there's the obvious stuff, like feed the baby, clean the baby, exploit the baby for YouTube views, blah, blah, blah. But until you've lived the first couple weeks of parenthood, it's really hard to describe just how intense that it is, especially when you haven't cared for babies throughout your life. Ooh, Fortress, let's go. I mean, I'm the youngest kid in my immediate family by quite a bit, so I never babysat or even changed a diaper in my entire life until my own baby's very first diaper change. Which, let me tell you, if you don't know what a massive meconium blowout is, well, neither did I. But God, did I live to tell the tale about it. Barely. And what's weird is, in any other context or any other baby, a diaper blowout of any kind would send me gagging. I mean, my stomach is as weak as my PvP, for real. No, everything went south so freaking quick. But when it's your kid, it's in a weird way kind of like an extension of your own poop. So it's more of like a joyous occasion, like everything seems to be working. Huzzah! I like to think that my daughter's gonna watch this in like 15 years and be utterly mortified that I talked about her bowel movements on YouTube. But that's just part of it, I think. The things that I thought I'd struggle with may be hard, like waking up every 3 hours to feed her or getting peed on when I change a diaper, but I'm happy to do all of it because I would sacrifice and give up any form of my own comfort just to make her a little bit happier. Oh, get some of that, sir. Oh, he drops a disc. I forgot about that in this version. Tears. Aw, kind of sad. Speaking of which, let's talk about how YouTube fits into all this. All right, so we are officially in week 2 of daddism, dad day, daddy time, daddy, whatever. 2 weeks being a dad at this point, and things are going really well. She's super happy, super healthy. We are currently having our first daddy-daughter work day where I'm trying to freaking upload a video from me and Rec right now, doing a little speed run challenge, and it wasn't exactly on my agenda to get back to work so quick, but it's probably one of my favorite ones that me and Rec have done in a long time, so I'm really excited about it. But most of all, I'm just excited to officially be able to take some time away and just hang out with the baby constantly, because as much as I want to be, you know, a YouTuber and to make this work as a parent, being a parent comes first, and I'm just excited to be able to spend a lot more time with her. So I'm gonna get right back to it. And if you couldn't tell, I am what's known as a raging workaholic, or grindaholic, whatever makes me sound young and hip these days. So for reference, I usually spend well over 200 hours on a single video myself. Not someone else rough cutting or editing or any of that stuff, just my time alone. I work 10 to 12 hour days, and even when I'm not working, I'm researching, planning, reviewing, or whatever. So content is a huge part of my life and takes up a gigantic part of my mind and my time. Time that I could now be spending with my daughter and my wife. This fortress sucks. I'm going down. I'm going down. Oh God, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be fine. Woo! Oh my God, I hate the nether so much. And I'd be lying if I said that at some points in the last couple months, I hadn't looked into her tiny little eyes and thought that I would trade my entire channel to be able to spend more time with her. Even if that meant having to go out and get another regular old god-awful 9-to-5 job, because as much as I love making content, it's by far the most intensive and stressful job I've ever had. And I've literally nearly died on more than one job site in the past. What in the French toast? But that's kind of the crux of it all, because I do love making content. I love sharing my creations and stories. I love reading your kind comments and the snarky ones too. And I love the fan art and the dedication that you guys have shown me to even allow me and my wife to feel comfortable enough to bring a baby into this world. So thank you for that. Oh God, I'm on fire. I'm on fire. It all just makes me genuinely just a happier person than I've probably ever been. Unfortunately, you can't have everything that you want in life.
Well, it has officially been almost a month. It's been 3.5 weeks with our little baby. She's doing great. She's chilling in a little bassinet over there. And as you can see, I'm doing a little bit editing on the side, trying to balance that work life, new dad, self-employed kind of thing. It's hard, man. It's really hard. Just the grind of being a content creator in general can be really hard for a regular average Joe. But like, you throw in being a dad on top of it, and it becomes really really hard. You know, like, I'm sitting here, she's napping, I'm editing, and all at the same time, like, all I want to do is not. You know, I don't want to sit here and edit and be kind of like here but not here with her. And I've never really felt like making content was really, quote, work until this, you know, until there's truly something that I feel like I am more intended to do or be a part of, as in like her life and being here with her. So when I think about the future of this channel, like what it's gonna be, what's gonna happen, where are we gonna start, what are we gonna start making going forward, I don't know.
So sadly, I'm also here to say goodbye. Goodbye to all the naysayers that say I can't have my cake and eat it too. And by that, I just mean have a baby and make content too. I'm not going to eat the baby. You guys are weird. Anyways, because that's exactly the kind of dad that I want to be. Happy. I want to wake up excited to make my daughter slightly burnt pancakes before she runs off to school, kiss my wife goodbye as she heads off to work, and sit down at my desk with a hot cup of black coffee ready to create something fun and silly for our community here to enjoy. Out of here. So that's what I'm gonna do. Be the best dad I can be the best husband I can be, and get back to some of my roots of what made my channel so much fun to work on every day in the first place, to hopefully keep entertaining all of you for a long time to come. Wait. Oh my God. Speaking of babies, it's a ghast baby. Oh my God. I have another baby, a dried baby, and there's another one. That one's in a little bit too precarious of a situation. No, thank you. But first, I am going to take a bit more time going on walks, holding hands, and just spending some time with my little potato bug. And in the meantime, I've got a couple more vids coming up, like the Cobblemon finales that are super fun. I hope you guys check them out. And a very special video with some familiar faces that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. And when I come back, I have some plans for some projects that are going to make this channel better than ever. Oh God, ow. Okay, please. Oh my. Okay, well, they were just working together. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I'm gonna go try to find my stuff. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And as always, tune in for the next one.